Francois, thank you so much for joining us. I suppose Trop-X is a suitable name given it's going to be in the Seychelles. Just give us an idea of what the plan is. You say Q4 is when you're going to be listing the first equity board in the Seychelles.
That's right, Sam. In Q4, we're listing 3 equity boards, which is very different to what we have in the current scenario. It's a venture capital board, a small and medium enterprises board, and a main company board. So that'll be live in Q4. We're going to, for a year, just concentrate on Seychelles, and then over a 5-year period, we're concentrating on a multi-currency and multilateral trading facility for Africa, which will be based throughout Africa. So it's basically a virtual exchange between all the African countries. We are in discussion with another 2 countries at the moment, and we have applied for an exchange license here in South Africa.
Francois, this is Larry in Nairobi. This is an interesting development because for the SADC region, SMEs looking to raise capital have preferred the London Stock Exchange or even in Toronto. What kind of ways are you trying to make sure that they're coming to Trop-X instead?
Larry, you've hit the nail on the head, and that's one of our main contentions. We've looked at the Toronto model, and we've actually looked at the AIM model as well. And we do believe that they don't accommodate the South African scenario or the African scenario for raising venture capital and small and medium enterprises. So we've based a lot of our modeling off those 2 exchanges. So I think when we can release the listing requirements closer to the time, Africans will be quite excited because a lot of their business will come back from Toronto, a lot of their business will come back from AIM and be relocated back in Africa.
So who are you targeting then? Are you targeting big multinational companies, international companies who would look at a secondary listing in the Seychelles?
Well, there's a new phenomenon around the world now, but MiFID in Europe, you don't really have secondary listings. Countries can trade in other countries' jurisdictions, etc., etc. What we are really looking for, the first 3 stages of venture capital markets that go to Canada and go to AIM, and we believe that there's a huge scope in Seychelles to bring that market into the Seychelles.
So what is going to set Trop-X apart from all the other exchanges that we have globally right now? Because of course a lot easier to trade globally, movement of money is a lot easier. So what sets Trop-X apart? And also I suppose JSE would be a big competitor.
I think ultimately JSE would probably try and compete in the space. What sets Trop-X apart is its new CCOM line that's gone into Trop-X. Previously, the Seychelles was just an island in the middle of nowhere. Now they've got direct connectivity with the rest of the world in a matter of microseconds. So that's really our finding, sort of the axe to the whole project. Based on that is the harmonized set of African rules which we've written, and hopefully the other African countries will have a look at them and accommodate us.
I mean, what does that mean? Set of African rules, harmonized set of
similar
African
listing
rules.
requirements, similar rules, etc., based across all the jurisdictions, which no one's actually got right at this stage. But we're not trying to attract other African listings into Seychelles. We're trying to harmonize a set of rules so you keep your own listings and you create a broader scope basically to trade in. And that is our big vision.
Francois, tell us about the timing of this, because this is not the first time this has come up. It should have been launched somewhere around 2007, but then the global financial crisis happened. We have another Eurozone crisis at this point. Are you confident about the timing?
I don't think the timing's been the problem. I think the strategy has been the problem. I think the reluctance of African countries to talk to other African countries has been a massive problem in our project. And by breaking those boundaries down, I think we can achieve a fair level of success. We're not listening to target other African countries. What happens in the exchange world has happened in Europe is your pie grows bigger as opposed to the one exchange eating another.
So do you have buy-in now from the key exchanges that you'd be looking to work with?
We haven't really spoken to a lot of exchanges. We've spoken to 4 or 5 at the moment on the African continent. We've got quite a bit of buy-in from them. Our strategy is not to take other countries' listings. You keep your sovereign listing, but we create a bigger pool of liquidity as such, as what's happened in Europe. And the African countries are definitely looking to that. If we can harmonize a set of trading rules, everybody gets on the same platform, which is a good platform. I think we sort of 9/10 of the way there. I sat in the Congress of South African stock exchanges and the Asian stock exchange as well. And there's just a reluctance between these countries to work to each other. So hopefully with the same set of listing requirements and rules, which will adapt for the country, we're not at all invading your territory, but we rather want to create a bigger trading space and create the ultimate goal of what we've been trying to achieve here for the last 10 or 12 years.
You're talking very confidently, Francois, about how advanced or mature the financial services sector in Seychelles is. Tell us about that.
Well, they really, in 2008, the new the Seychelles Act came into place, which is actually an excellent piece of legislation when you compare to the rest of Africa. I was actually quite surprised at their legislation, and also I was surprised at the way they're looking forward. They don't want some big international exchange going to dominate to do nothing. They were looking for a pan-African set of rules. We've had intense negotiations with their regulators, and they're looking at creating this Pan-African exchange. It's not going to be based in the Seychelles. Everyone keeps their own listings, but I think we'll be the forefront. The advantage we've had is we started from scratch. We didn't have a legacy systems or old set of rules or
so sometimes
a defunct set of rules. Yeah,
first move
absolutely.
advantage isn't always appropriate and helpful.
So we've had really the advantage. I think our strategic advantage really is to look at what's happened in the world in the last 3 years. And there hasn't been an evolution in exchanges, there's been a revolution. If you look around what's happened around the world in terms of trading system and rules. So we've had the advantage of looking at what's happened globally and hopefully consolidating that in the Seychelles for the greater community of Southern Africa and hopefully going to Africa. But as it be said, we're not the traditional, we're going to invade another African space. We want to work with other African exchanges and create this global pool of liquidity that everybody can benefit from, set on a harmonized set of listing requirements and rules with the, what you call a fourth generation trading system, which is currently under construction in Europe, which is arguably going to be better than most of the exchanges we're aware of out there at the moment.
Well, we certainly hope to catch up with you once this exchange is launched, and also looking to open up a competitive exchange here in South Africa under the Quote Africa Group. So we'll be delving into that. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, Francois Venter, founding member of Trop-X.